Hello, my name is Levi, and this is the Wax Poetic Podcast. Welcome. My guest today is Colt, and we're going to talk about
2017's Lil Peep's Come Over When You're Sober, Part 1.
Now, I do know he died shortly after this came out.
Yeah. He died like 2 or 3 months, right after this album came out, as it was starting to gain popularity. He passed away from a fentanyl overdose.
So, were you already a fan of his? I know this is kind of what you normally listen to. So, were you already a fan when this happened, or?
Yeah, so I started listening to Lil Peep, or Lil Peep, as the cool kids say. I started listening to Lil Peep around 2016. He hadn't put out like an official album at that point. It was just mixtapes. But I was super invested in this kind of underground new wave of hip hop that was happening online. On SoundCloud primarily was kind of where Lil Peep was blowing up. So in 2016, he released Crybaby, which is just a single. And that kind of took the internet by storm for a couple of weeks. That was the hot thing in all of those forums that people that care about new hip hop were on. So I was invested then, but I never really listened to the full album until after I heard about his death, which is unfortunate. But that's kind of what was like, oh, I liked this guy. I'm really sad he passed away. He just had an album that came out, and then it became one of my favorite albums right after that.
Cool. Well, when you first told me what album you wanted to do, I looked him up and I saw him, and the first thing I thought was, did you see a couple of weeks ago on SNL, they had a skit where Timothy Chalamet and Pete Davidson are SoundCloud rappers?
I did see that.
Okay, yeah. That was my I was like, oh man, Colt, what are you getting me into? But you know, I was actually really surprised because it didn't sound like I thought it was going to sound.
Yeah, Lil Peep is, compared to the other people that were in that same time, the SoundCloud boom of the mid 2000 teens or whatever you want to call it, Lil Peep was definitely one of the more mature artists that came out of that. And he was doing stuff that, the reason I fell in love with it immediately was nothing else at the time sounded like this. This was uniquely its own thing. Emo rap pop punk was not a genre that anyone cared about.
He's got a rock voice. He doesn't have a rap voice. He's got a rock voice.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, if you go back and you think about acts that are performing now, and you think about what are their influences, there's so many people that are doing something that is similar to what Lil Peep was doing back in 2017 when no one else was doing it.
So you never saw him live then, right?
No, I never got the chance.
A very short window from when he got fame to when,
Mm-hmm. Never saw him live, but the reason I wanted to talk about this on the podcast is I initially loved the album when it came out just because it was its own like special, unique music that no one else was doing. That was definitely part of that scene. Even if stuff wasn't good, if it sounded different, it was immediately popular with the online forums that I was following. Everyone was looking for uniqueness in hip hop at the time.
Something different, yeah.
Yeah. So I loved it initially then, and then even like 6 or 7 months ago, I started listening to this album again for some reason, and the subject matter of it is actually what was like, oh, I'm interested in this again for a different reason. The subject matter is what was drawing me in the second time.
Yeah, it's some pretty dark stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it about, drug abuse. I mean, I know he had the overdose of some Xanax and something else, I guess. I'm not exactly certain on that.
Yeah. Fentanyl laced Xanax was the cause of death. So accidental overdose, but still very, very unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, I've taken Xanax, but I couldn't do it recreationally.
Oh, yeah. I have no desire. I have no desire.
I just take just enough though. I'm not freaking out somewhere.
Yeah. His music, especially the stuff that's been released posthumously. This is the only album that he put out when he was still alive. But a lot of the stuff he's put out posthumously talks about similar themes, and even he predicts his own death in a lot of his music, which is very hard to listen to, but also like very, very interesting and makes it more impactful.
Yeah. The song "Better Off Dying," it's basically about, live fast, die young.
Yeah,
It's just like, hey, this is my lifestyle. This is who I am and what I do, and that's what I got. That's who I am.
yeah. I think the interesting thing is a lot of the time he's self-evaluating in this album too, though. It's not just I'm doing drugs, here we go, I'm partying, which is kind of like the normal hip hop thing. But this is a very like sad album.
Yeah.
He's
reasoning why he's doing all the drugs.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's not he's not
a
happy
party.
about it.
It's not doing drugs to party. It's
Right.
man, I don't know what else to do. This is how I survive.
Yeah, which is obviously his lifestyle is not what I am living. I don't want that to be obviously
Yeah,
not.
no, yeah.
But because I work in the film industry and I'm a young dude in a city where I don't know very many people, I mean, it's a similar thing to what I'm surrounded by. Like the film industry is full of drugs. The film industry is full of people with mental health issues. The film industry is full of people that have like dire medical things that they're not addressing. So that subject matter is kind of what brought me back into it recently. Just like I relate to this, not on the same scale, obviously, but he's talking about things that I honestly don't think I can find anywhere else in current music because they're all dead. I mean, Mac Miller's dead. Lil Peep is dead. XXXTentacion is dead. There's a lot of people in that genre who have passed on, unfortunately.
Kind of what you were saying, the song Problems, he's basically talking about how he doesn't really fit in, or he never
Yeah.
felt like he really fit into anything. And I guess that's where he had his whole the goth boy collective.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I know. Yeah, I mean, I kind of met you not too long after you came to Austin, right?
I mean, yeah, like 6 months, like right away after I moved here.
So I feel like you probably did find a good or a decent
Oh yeah, yeah.
place to fit in and people to accept you, and just yeah, I feel like you found a pretty good place for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely did. And Kiss and Break Up and you and all those people were a huge part of that. That is super important and definitely why I feel more stable than a Lil Peep did. The surrounding environment outside of that small circle, though, is, I would say, kind of similar to what he's been thrown into throughout this album. Excessive partying, lots of drug use, and I mean, that's part of the lifestyle. And you have to accept that if that's what you're wanting to do. If you want to be a filmmaker, there's gonna be drugs around you. That's
You're gonna
part
be
of the
exposed to it. Yeah,
yeah.
just get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get off the drugs for a moment here.
Sounds good.
Okay, the song "Binge Truck," which it's like the most fun song on the album.
Yes.
I guess if you're gonna have to pick one. But I couldn't help. I mean, I had to wonder. I know. Well, do you have a dream vehicle? But
I do not have an extreme vehicle. No.
you don't have a dream vehicle that you would.
Dream vehicle, not
Yes,
extreme.
yeah.
Do I have a dream vehicle? Not really. I honestly don't think I do. Do you? Do you have a dream vehicle, Levi?
When I was little, I was really into Lamborghinis.
Okay.
I know one year I got a Lamborghini radio controlled car, and I drove that thing everywhere. But I guess that's as close as I'm ever going to get to actually driving a Lamborghini. So.
Oh, you got time. You got time, Levi. Lamborghini is coming near future for you. I fully believe it.
I'll get there. But no dream vehicle for you.
I don't know. I think my experience with vehicles the last like 5 years of my life has been hugely negative.
Yeah.
I had a 2003 Xterra that I was just kicking down the road for a very, very long time. So I was just kind of hoping it ran. That was kind of my dream vehicle. Is something that
That started
wasn't
when you
stopped on the
turned it
side of
on.
the road. Yeah.
Yeah, my current car, I'm gonna drive it until it just doesn't run anymore. Oh, I also wanted to talk about face tats
Okay.
because I noticed he does have the Crybaby, which was his first, I guess, the demo, I guess.
It wasn't his first, but that was his like one of the big ones he did. Yeah, it was the
Hmm.
Crybaby one. Yeah.
Do you have any tats? I know you don't have any face tats, but
I do. I actually started getting tattoos fairly recently from my sister,
mhm.
who is a tattoo artist. That's the current big one. I know this is an audio medium, but I just showed Levi a very cool
There it is.
skull and like a skull hourglass tattoo that I
Okay.
have. I have one on my ankle as well. But I'm planning on getting a lot. I don't know if I'll do face. How do you feel about face tattoos? Is that a absolutely not for you?
I can't get tattoos. I'm too wishy washy. Like I'll think, oh, this is cool for like a week, and then after that, I'll be like, I wish I had it like an inch over,
Oh
or
no,
just in a
yeah,
different spot. It would just annoy me, and I'd be like, I'm stuck with it.
yeah. I don't know. I think they're really fun. If you get a tattoo and you don't like it, then just you wear a shirt on top of it, right? Then you're good.
That's true. Yeah, you just wear a shirt. You just wear
Yeah,
more clothes over your face. You just
yeah.
wear a balaclava all the
I'm gonna have
time.
to be very confident about what the face tattoo is before I go for that, though. I don't know if I'm just gonna swing into that one and see what happens. But
Just get somebody else's face tattooed on yours.
whoa,
Yeah, I don't know how that would work.
that's that's intense. That would be. Who would you get tattooed on your face? Who would be the
Oh, Weird
person?
Al.
Okay, that's a good answer. Weird Al on your
Might as
face.
well. Get a Weird Al. Get the
You
glass. I
should.
want permanent glasses.
Would you get like hair implants to have his hair as well? To do like the big, huge, like curly locks?
For Halloween, I would
Okay.
definitely have a Weird Al wig just ready to go. Well, there's the song "Save That Shit,"
Mm-hmm.
where I guess it's more about relationship problems, but I guess his lifestyle is kind of getting in the way of having a relationship. Do you find having the time outside of working to have any kind of real relationships with people, or is it just more difficult now?
Bro, that is a deep, haunting question for me. Yeah, yeah, it is a major issue, and
Mhm.
it has ended relationships for me before because my lifestyle is so. I don't know. It's a weird thing. I work full time film industry, which means that my schedule is constantly shifting. And some weeks I won't work at all, and I'm free the entire time, and I'm down to hang out and do whatever needs to happen in a relationship, and I love that. But there's also times where if I'm on a bigger project, like a feature or something, I am just out of commission for a month and there's nothing I can do about it. That is the nature of my work, and it's very hard to have a relationship outside of that because you're just missing huge chunks of time. And when you're in a relationship and you miss a month, and that obviously is not great for a one-on-one relationship where you're supposed to be talking to each other.
Yeah, a little bit of regularity kind of helps with relationships, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it does, and it's very hard to explain that to people, and not that people need to understand it or it's something that like other people need to deal with. But it's very hard to communicate that in a relationship, and it's ended a relationship for me, honestly, because I wasn't able to keep up with both of them. And I do think that there's a situation where a relationship and what I do, where those could meld together and be totally fine, but it's definitely gonna be a hurdle for me. And that's part of the reason I relate to this album is because he's talking about a different set of circumstances.
Mm.
There's he's a performing musician with a drug addiction. I work in the film industry, so they're not exactly comparable, but I do understand the pull away from like a relationship.
Yeah.
I understand his desire, like he has to do this, like this is his only option is to be a musician. My only option is to be a filmmaker. That is the only thing that brings me fulfillment as a worker. So that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I have to do. and there are definitely negatives to it.
Hey, it's me. I'm interrupting the show for a moment to ask that if you have been listening and enjoy what's going on, to leave a rating on Apple Podcasts or even just share an episode on social media. Any ratings and mentions are greatly appreciated. The podcast has been steadily growing, and I've been having a lot of fun interviewing people and hearing what they have to say about music and everything. So, seeing that there are people that are into the show just makes it so much easier and enjoyable to put all the work of researching, recording, and editing into it. I'm going to put all the links to all this in the show notes just to make it easier on you. Okay, now back to it. I guess the song "Bright Side." I guess that's a pretty close
Happy
to.
is not the right word, but yeah.
Well, the idea is kind of similar to the Killer's "Mr. Brightside," just that you see someone
Yeah.
you used to go out with someone else, and it's just like kills you kind of. That can be difficult. I guess it just depends on who you are and how much distance you've had with each other.
Yeah, Brightside is one of the better songs on this album,
Oh
I
yeah.
think. Honestly, like, I love this entire album, but the last three songs are far and away the best songs on this album. Starting with Better Off, into Brightside, and then Problems. Those three together are incredible.
I will agree with that. Those three were my
Okay,
favorites from the album.
sweet. You should listen to part two if you want at some point. That it's a continuation, and I think much better.
Yeah, I was planning on it, and I did read that he wrote really fast. So he wrote a lot of music,
Yeah,
before he died. So he still has, like 2 albums or whatever of extra stuff that was put out. But I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna check out that one. I just wanted to get into this one first, but
yeah. Of course.
like I said, this wasn't what I was expecting, but I'm really kind of into it. I'm glad you turned me
Dude,
on to this.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I was kind of worried when I first sent it to you. I was like, man, this guy's, I don't know. but I'm glad you liked it, man.
All right. Well, I did have another question because I did read that where he got his name from was that his mom raised like ducks and chickens. So she called him Lil Peep because he was
Yeah.
one of her baby chicks. So I was wondering, like, do you have a childhood nickname that you
Oh.
still get called, or?
Do I? I mean, I guess Colt is technically a nickname. My full name is Colton, but everyone calls me Colt at this point. I don't know. I guess like my mom would call me Sweetie, but that's not like that's not unusual at all. Did you have any cool like nicknames when you were a child, Levi? Did I miss out?
Well, my name's Levi, so I got called Oshkosh, 501, Buttonfly, Stonewash, Acid Wash, every gene related name you could think of. But besides
Very
that,
good.
I did have an aunt that would call me Taco.
Okay.
I'm not sure why. She just,
Just guys.
she just started calling me that when I was really little. I probably just because I like tacos. But
Hey, you gotta call me Taco too, then I guess.
all right, Colt. We're gonna play a quick game here.
Okay.
I'm gonna read some words to you.
Okay.
This is called lyric or stuff in my diary.
Okay. Is this from Lil Peep? Am I gonna be exposed as not knowing all of his lyrics?
Yes,
Okay.
you're gonna have to tell me if the words are from this album or stuff that I
Okay.
made up.
Sounds great.
So, so here goes. First one. Your words mean nothing. My life ain't your plan. It's just the way the world flows.
Whoa. I think you wrote that. I don't think that's in one of these songs.
That's correct. I did make that up.
Yes. Okay. Ooh, okay. Good. It was convincing. It was convincing.
All right, here's the next one. I can take you there, but baby, you won't make it back. Growing sick of this, and I don't want to make you sad.
That is from this album. That is one of the best lines on this album.
I think so too. That was the easy one.
Okay. Go for the deep cuts next. Okay.
All right. There's only you. It's always you. Forever. Build me up. We'll make this work together.
Whoa. I don't think there's anything that positive in this album. So I think you wrote that one again, Levi.
That's true. I did make that especially positive just to see if you were paying attention. And you were. All right. Help me find a way to make you mine Everybody telling me not to, but I'm gonna try.
I believe that is from this album as well. I think that's part of one of the songs.
It is from Brightside.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right, here's the last one. You're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
Spend a lot of time in the background. You know I spend a lot of time in the background.
That is from this album, and a great hook on one of these songs that is pretty overplayed in the song, but it's still good.
Yeah, it does get repeated a lot. But yeah, well, you passed. You made 100%.
Thank you.
You win.
Yes. I'm a real fan of Lil Peep.
You're
Confirmed.
get the Big Peep Award, I guess.
Yes.
Can you also sing or rap or hum or whatever your favorite line from the album?
Ooh, my favorite line from the album. I don't know. I cannot rap or sing or hum. But, but I will say.
Okay, you can just tell it to me.
That's more of a I am not able to, not that I will not kind of situation, unfortunately. But let me pull open Awful Things and get the lyrics on that, because I think that's one of my favorite songs on this too.
While you're looking that up,
Yes.
I know with the Goth Boy clique, is there others within that group that you follow?
Honestly, Gothboy Click is not very good.
Okay.
Outside of Lil Peep. Lil Tracy is the other bigger artist from that group. I don't like Lil Tracy very much, unfortunately.
Oh.
But that's just personal preference, not for me. Lil Peep was kind of doing his own thing. He was part of Gothboy Click, and he did some like collabs with them. He did a mixtape with them, I think. But he had definitely pulled away as like the main guy from that group.
Okay.
Kind of, it was kind of like, I don't know, if you think back to like Odd Future, when Tyler the Creator and
Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean, yes, thank you so much. There was one other guy that came out of that. Earl Sweatshirt was the other guy that came out of that. That's who I was searching for. Those three kind of became the artists that stood forward from Odd Future, and everyone else was kind of just like,
Okay.
they were doing their own thing. And it's kind of a similar thing with Gothboy Click, but okay. I don't know if this is exactly my favorite lines from this album, but this is from Awful Things. It's bother me, tell me awful things. You know I love it when you do that. Helps me get through this without you. I don't know. It doesn't mean anything deep to me personally. I'm not relating it to a specific time in my life or anything specific, but I don't know. I really love that line.
Just the one you hear in your head when you think about it.
Yeah, and it's talking about hearing bad news and then somehow using that bad news to get through stuff. Which doesn't make any sense, but it just really speaks to me. This is hot off the presses and not good, but I got a call literally like an hour ago that one of my childhood friends just found out he had a serious brain tumor.
Oh.
Like just literally like an hour before getting on this podcast found that out. I don't know what to do with that. I don't feel like I've processed that, but there's very few musical places where you can find people talking about brain tumors and mental health issues and drug abuse and suicidal things. Like it's not common, and when it is spoken about, it's usually in an irreverent or just kind of like throw this at the wall and see what happens deal. But I don't know. I feel like Lil Peep in his music is very, very honest and open about what he's going through. And I just really appreciate that. I appreciate music that is real. I think that's part of the reason this album is so important to me in that space, is that it's not good. Things are not happy at the end of the album.
Yeah.
It's not getting solved. And there's a lot of things in life that just don't get solved. And I appreciate having music that speaks to that too, instead of just happy-go-lucky or I had a problem and now it's done. This is very much in the moment of that.
Yeah. So. I mean, I can appreciate fun music, but the music that really sticks with me that I listen to a lot actually has real lyrics and talks about real things, you know. But like I said, I can appreciate just fun music and just having fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, gotta have both, right?
Oh
You gotta
yeah,
have both.
gotta have a good mix. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, what else have you been? What have you been working on lately?
Oh, oh boy. I recently started moving forward with kind of launching my own stuff on the internet. I've been spending a lot of time doing other people's shows as an editor and then as a producer. And I'm finally starting to put out my own stuff, which is super, super exciting. I wrote and directed a sketch show that we shot 4 episodes of last weekend. So I'm going to start editing on that. Levi, I would love for you to be a voice in it if you're interested. I actually have already cast you without your knowledge in one of the roles.
Okay.
So.
All right.
If you're interested in that, I would love to have you voice the rotisserie chicken that shoots me with a gun.
All right. I'm down.
But yeah, doing that sketch show, and then it's not set in stone at all, but I plan to move to LA in the next 6 months to a year to pursue new media entertainment, whatever that means.
To
So
make it bigger. Yeah, I get you.
I guess, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to add, or is that it?
No, dude. Thank you so much for having me on here. I really like this podcast. I really think it's a great idea. I appreciate you asking me to come on.
Thanks. All right. Thank you, Colt.
Of course.
So please check us out every other Monday and follow along on Facebook at Wax Poetic Podcast and also on Instagram at Wax Poetic Podcast and of course on Twitter at Wax Poetic Pod.